Hi, this is Brian, and in this video, I'll be doing a tutorial of managing group sources and classifications. And so we start out in the dashboard here, and I'm going to click on the Groups tab. Now, within this tab, you can see the groups that you're already a member of. You can also see groups that you're not a member of that you can request admission to over here with this button, and you can create a new group down at the bottom here. But I'm going to go up to a group that I'm already in, click on it, and then I'll click on Group Sources here. And now I see a list of the sources that are within this group. And so I can see their source ID, their coordinates, and their classifications. And with those, I can mouse over any one of them and see the probability between 0 and 1 that's been assigned to it. I can also see the taxonomy that contains that classification. And I can see the user who posted that classification. And then continue on to the right, I can see the groups that each source is a member of. I can also see the date each one was saved and a finder chart for each source. I can also go up here to the top right and add more columns or remove some by clicking these boxes here. So now if I want to examine an individual source, I go to it and click on the arrow here that brings the dropdown. And so within this dropdown, you can see extra information like the cutout of the source in different surveys. And if there's photometry uploaded, then you can see the photometry time series in different bands. And if there's a period annotation, like there is for this source, then you can also see the phase folded light curve. And so once I look at this information and decide what I think about the existing classifications, I might find that I want to add or remove or change some. And so to do that, I can go to Post Classifications down here. And so first I go to this dropdown and choose the taxonomy to get the classifications from. So I'll choose site-wide taxonomy. Then I have to choose between non-stellar or stellar variable. So I'll choose the latter. And now you can see that since the source already has some classifications, this slider interface already has some dragged to 1. For eclipsing and beta Lyrae here, we can see right away it also continues down a ways if we scroll down. So let's say I'm not as confident that the system is beta Lyrae as previously expected. So maybe I'll bring that slider down to 0.5 and I'll bring the W Ursae Majoris slider up to 0.5. And so then up here, it stages the classifications that would be posted if I finished right now. And it shows me what those are. Now, there's also this option to normalize the probabilities for each classification. And so now if, say, I'm not confident that the source is eclipsing at all, then maybe I want to bring that down to 0.5. And that will actually scale the child classes of that parent class down along with it. So this can be useful. It also can provide some unintended changes to sliders that you didn't click on. So just keep that in mind when using that box. For now, I will not use that, and I'll leave eclipsing at 1. I'll bring these two to 0.5. And so now I will scroll to the bottom. And I will click Submit Classifications. And so those classifications are now saved. And now note that as I was clicking around these different sliders, it actually did post some duplicate classifications. And so when changing these sliders, it doesn't change the classification that already exists. It actually will post a new one. And so we'll see that now at the top here because we have 2 different beta Lyrae classifications. One is 0.5 and one is 1 still. So if I click into this source, then now I can see the individual source page. And that again includes the classifications up top here, the annotations and the cutouts. And if I scroll down some more, I can add comments. And then if I continue to scroll, then I can get to a photometry window here, where again, since there's a period annotation, I can click the period tab and see the phase folded light curve, either with 2 phases or 1. And I can also quickly multiply or divide the period by 2. And maybe there's a better fit to a better choice for the period than has been posted already. And so now I can also go over and see the classifications here on the right. I can see the ones I just posted. And if I want to delete any of them, then I can click on the trash bin here and delete it. And I can also add another classification if I'd like. So I can choose the group here to post the classifications to, and then choose the taxonomy again. And now I again have a classification dropdown instead of sliders this time. And so I'll click on a classification here and assign a certain probability to it, and then click submit. And this is another way that I can manage classifications for a given source. And so now say I want to go back and do this for a lot of sources, but I don't want to be jumping around to the different types here. I might want to filter by only a specific type of classification. So I only have to think about a specific type of source. So for that, I can go to the upper right here to the filter table. And there's a lot of different ways we can filter by. We can use the source ID, position, time saved, detection time. Here's the classification that I can filter by. I'll come back to that in a minute. I can also filter by non-classifications here if I don't want to include a certain source. I can also filter by annotations, whether they exist or not, what their origin is, even comments on their author, and other fields as well. But I'll go up to classification here and say I only want to see sources that have beta Lyrae classification. So for that, I'll scroll to beta Lyrae under site-wide taxonomy. And when I click that, then it will, and then I have to scroll down to the bottom here and click submit. And now it will bring up only the sources that contain beta Lyrae as one of their classifications. And so then I could go and click the dropdown for each one here, know what I'm looking for, not have to change gears every time I see a different type of classification here, and see whether I agree or not with the existing classifications. So that's an introduction to managing group sources and their classifications. And I look forward to seeing you in a future video.